Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back. Time to put the Mac Mini M1 to the test. 16 gigs of RAM, half terabyte SSD running at just shy of 3,000 megabits per second. Do check out my testing videos on the Asus TUF 17 as well as my new HP laptop as well, the 14-inch. I have videos where we've tested the exact same files, which was what we're going to use, including the new so we're going to use the old intro and outros because the new intro and outros that I have for my channel don't work under Movie Maker for some reason on the PC, but the original files do, and the original files work on this. But we're going to use the same screen recording. It's about a 20-minute video roughly, just jabbering off on Apple's website. But what we want to see is what the time difference is going to be from import to clipping to export time on the Mac. So we are going to do it as dragging one file in at a time, the same way we did on Movie Maker. And we're going to take an extra step just to kind of be a little nicer. We're going to drag into here and then down, where Movie Maker we just dragged straight into the window because we don't have to do the into here and then down to here. So we're going to do the exact same process. So let's get the timer going. Okay, and we are done. 7 minutes and 12 seconds. I did make a boo-boo, by the way, on my Asus TUF specs. I thought it was like 3.2 gigahertz with an overclock of 4.7. It's actually 11th gen i7 2.3 gigahertz 8 core with an overclock of 4.7. So a little bit different. However, it did it in 10, I believe it was 10 minutes and 47 seconds on the Asus. The Mac Mini with half the amount of RAM, half the hard drive, or half the SSD size, and they're running around the same speeds. And definitely the video is the interesting part about the M1s, is because it's kind of like a flex rate plan, and it's 100% shared with system memory. Now the system memory is definitely way faster than standard RAM you'll find in regular computers like the Asus and the HP are both 3200 megahertz. The stuff in here is like completely different and very, very super fast, and it needs to be for video. But the video is, you know, it's an 8-core GPU in the Mini, but we don't know exactly what our video RAM is in total, so a little bit different. So out of 712 to 1049, that's definitely going to be a lot faster. That's still pretty close to about 5, well, it's, I would say what, almost 5 minutes quicker on the Mini, because it doesn't have to take the time to buffer in any files, to import them. It's just instant, it's there. So you can get right to your editing right away and save that time alone. And that's where you do have an advantage edge that way with the M1. But surprisingly though, the M1 is actually, it's an 8-core CPU running at 3.2 gigahertz performance cores and 3 gigahertz on the efficiencies. And so it's definitely a lot different than our PC, which I had all 8 cores cranked to about 4.2-ish, almost 4.3 gigahertz for all 8 cores at once on the Asus. And of course I was running full turbo on the HP, and my turbo wasn't even set on the Asus. Or they would probably be a little bit closer together between the Mac and the Asus. But we were running at full bore 3.7 full turbo on the HP. And mind you, these things are also running really hot, and the fans are blasting in them, where the Mini doesn't even break a sweat. You can't even hear the fan. and I've had max fan speed control before the Mini just for giggles, and it's kind of like pointless anyways, but it's never even broken its temperature doing a video edit. For what I normally do, it's never gone past like 32 degrees, so it's kind of like it just runs like ice all the time. Anyways, interesting test for sure. Definitely pleased with the results. So we definitely do have a time saver. Now, the file is in 1080p. So that's not an issue. My native that I'm running right now for my screen resolution on my Mac, being a 32-inch display, I've got it running in 2K mode. I can also run it in 4K mode, which can steal more video processing power. So, which it does, right? Whereas we are native and only able to do 1080p on the Asus laptop and the HP, so they're not drawing as much video power as what my Mac is. My Mac is actually drawing a lot more video power to give us that 2K resolution, even though the file is the file, the screen, the OS, everything, and the OS uses a lot less RAM in the Mac. We're like, even with iMovie running, we're only at 7 gigs of RAM, and we're running 7 gigs of RAM on the Asus under Windows 11 as it is, just to get it to the desktop, never mind running the program extra. And I don't know what it's reacting like with 8 gigs of RAM only in the HP, but I'm more than sure we're into swap regardless. The HP did take almost 5 minutes longer than the Asus. Do check out those videos so you can have some comparisons, but I think we've definitely done some pretty interesting results here today. I'd love to get my hands on one of the new M2 machines, especially the top of the line Mac Mini. I think if I was able to afford upgrading anytime soon, I would go to the top of the line Mini, put 32 gigs of RAM in it, 1 terabyte drive, and I'd be fine with that in the M2 Pro series. And that thing should really cook out some honking power. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.